Very good. Very good. 52, 53. I have a new addiction. It's the game Arc Raiders. I can't stop playing it.
I've heard that game, but is it a new one?
It's new. It's only $50, and it's probably the best game I've played in the last 5 years at least. Except for God of War, except for like the heavy AAA story games, but this is really, really good. Really, really good. I don't know if anyone else is playing it out there. I know in our CBP Discord, you can probably see that I'm signed into Arc Raiders here and there, and most evenings for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. I wish I had more time. Excuse me, but it's just so great. Extraction shooter. I am not a big extraction shooter guy. I never have been, but this one really has my
extraction shooter.
You drop into a huge map, and there's a few of them at launch, and you go around trying to loot different items, caches, and the further you go into the map, the more difficult everything gets.
So it's kind of like Fortnite. It's kind of like PUBG and all that.
Except PUBG and Fortnite have no PvE, so the environment is actually the most dangerous thing, not the other players. And so sometimes other players will try and kill you and not get nicked by the environment along the way. Other times, most of the time, it's been my experience playing solos. Other players want to help you, and if you help them, to get deeper and deeper into the map so you can get some of the better loot and upgrade and stuff like that. And maybe my favorite part is that as the game progresses, every game is a half hour, right? That's how long you can stay in a game for a half hour max. As the game progresses, the exit points where you can leave with all your loot and bring back everything to use and upgrade and stuff, they start to disappear. So at the beginning of the game, there's like 6 different elevators you can pick. They all have timers on them. So some of them are 30 minutes, some of them are 10 minutes, some of them are 12, 15, whatever. And as the game goes on, that means the best players are left. They've spent the most time looting the best gear, and now they all got to get together at the elevator. And so what do you do at the elevator? You got all the enemies there from the environment, all the enemies there from the PvP side. Do you cooperate, or do you just start killing everyone, try and get your hands on as much as you can before you leave? It is intense. Very, very well put together game. Highly recommend it. If you're on PS5, I'll play with you. I'll be happy to hop in with a couple CBP listeners. Although I will say, I make no guarantees that we'll play duos. We can be in the same game, but
they turn on you.
That's right. You never know.
Did they introduce one-timers yet in that game or no?
No one-timers, and you can't cross the crease for goals yet, but I think they're going to put that in next patch probably.
Boo. Okay. Yeah. I'll wait for the patch. Let's talk about
New and Dyke is still OP in that version of the game.
He's man the game, by the way, in my opinion. Yeah, beauty of a story that came out of Australia. Australia's energy market operator, AEMO. Right? They came out this week. This is fucking fantastic. They say that households out there that make their own power, the ones that have solar panels on roofs, right?
Yeah.
And they also have they have batteries where they store electricity.
Subsidized by the government at some point, probably, in both cases.
Yeah. Well, don't think you could use that power, because it looks like they're going to have people share that energy that they're storing in batteries with the grid during peak times to keep electricity costs low. So you went out there, you spent tens of thousands of dollars for the solar panels. Maybe you had to retrofit your roof to carry the extra weight, put the new battery wall inside the house. It's not a cheap cost. And now I could use this energy. You could harvest it during the hot time and just use that to cool my house. No, man. You got to give it back as needed, because they have to keep electricity costs low. Love it. Good job, Australia.
Australia's a joke, man. They just put out a tweet on the 9th of November here. I kind of have it handy because I thought we were going to talk about Australia tonight. Anthony Albanese, who I think is just an MP over there, or he's a prime minister. Oh my God, he's the PM. Oh my God. Australia, he has this video out where he's proclaiming proudly that Australia also going to ban social media for anyone under 16 to keep them safe online. Why would you ever live in Australia? Like,
you know what? Australia,
what is going on over there?
If you look at the posts coming out of there, and they're talking about the change in what's going on with the demographics, they're about, I would say, 2 to 3 years behind Canada. Okay. They're following the exact same footsteps in terms of how people are entering, and the Conestogas of this. Everything is just fucking following the exact same footsteps. They're just a few years behind. It's funny to watch. Now, we're more advanced in that regard. Not to say that it's better to be more advanced. It's just funny to see we've gone through this whole exercise and others are just trying to follow suit.
There's a comment from Rob. First, they came for the electricity, and I did nothing, for I did not have any spare electricity. It's so true, man. Like, you never know what they're going to come for next. Your canned tuna, they're coming for that next. Community tuna.
There's
only.
more to it. COP 30, Joey. COP 30.
COP 30. We're back.
Yes, they are. Started today for the next 2 weeks, November 10th to November 25th.
Now, I heard, Len, that they're not getting nearly the attendance they wanted this year. Is that true?
I'm not sure. I mean, based on estimates, they're saying it's going to be 50,000 people attending, which is on the high end compared to previous COPs. And do you know where it's taking place, Joey?
Brampton?
No. It is a B. It's in Brazil.
Oh.
A city/town called Belém. I'm probably butchering the fucking name.
It's probably a Call of Duty map or something if I go back long enough in the line of games.
So Belém, Belem. And I decided to take a look. If you wanted to fly there from Toronto, with all delays and everything, it's 12 hours and 45 minutes according to Google. From London, it's around 12 hours and 50 minutes. Paris, 11 hours and 50 minutes. Like, it's not a hop, skip, and a jump away, but it's
they picked a place, sounds like, where everybody has to fly equally far to get there. No one's really close to it.
It's summertime over there, or late spring, and weather is fantastic. It's I did a Google search how much fuel a private jet would have to consume in order to fly from Toronto to Belém, and it's between 6,000 and 12,000 gallons.
Is that a lot?
And if you had to, I asked Google how far the average car would be able to drive with using 6,000 gallons of fuel. I'm using the lower number, by the way, not 12,000. That's 164,000 miles. So maybe 200,000 plus kilometers. And that's just one car. And how many jets are coming in? Remember, we saw the airport pictures last year. Was it Egypt? They were wherever the fuck they were. Either Oman, I don't know. It was just
I remember the landing strip pictures though. Yeah.
Yes.
Parking lot. Yeah. Parking lot of jets.
And the location of this, you have to understand, it's adjacent to the Amazon forest. And Trump was pointing out that they cut down a whole bunch of trees to build a highway. And there were some pictures on an adjacent article confirming this. You should see that they're laying down the asphalt here, cutting down all these fucking trees so people could fly in and drive to it's just an interesting location. They say that the government is also facing criticism for ramping up its oil drilling license because Brazil wants to become a top 5 global producer of oil by 2030. And so
this is where they picked for the conference.
So they're burning fossil fuels like oil, gas, and coal like crazy. And if somebody's going to say this is the main cause for climate issues, Brazil, which they're hosting it, they should basically tell them what the fuck's going on. They say, I don't know who they are, but they say that global temperatures temporarily exceeded the dreaded 1.5 Celsius mark last year. That was the hottest year on record. I don't know. I mean, my small little corner of the world over here, I barely used the air conditioner. My spring was fucking washed out because it was too cold and too rainy to play fucking golf. So I don't know. Maybe it was over 1.5 for the year. I don't fucking know. Canada's sending delegations over there. They're sending a delegation led by the Minister of Environment and Climate Change. They also have representatives from the Indigenous communities, the civil communities, youth and businesses. The list goes on and on. They have this thing every fucking year, and they fly in and they say that they're going to come up with all these beautiful ideas in which they can make the world a greener and better place. But how they choose to fly in there, and in the same time, like, let's be honest, Joey, because they continually to nickel and dime people and take away from their savings, take away from their pensions, take away from their salaries, take away from everything that their ability to fucking accumulate anything. And they do this with the intention, the guise of improving the climate. And so at the same time, they go out and fly a motherfucking jet. I haven't been on a fucking jet in 10 fucking years. My jalopy of a car is losing weight by the day because it's fucking rusted to hell. I'm not the fucking problem. I'm fucking contributing to the society. I'm going to work. I'm paying my taxes, and yet they fucking whittle away at what I could earn and what I could save. This is why I have Bitcoin, man. And I see this. This is a sticking point over there. The topics they have at COP30, Joey. Oh, I have it here, by the way. Beautiful. If you go there, these are the topics they're going to be talking about. Action for climate empowerment and children and youth. Adaptation and resilience. Budget. Budget is going to be fucking massive. Where it comes from, you know where it comes from. Climate finance. How they're fucking going to finance this stuff? Well, I have no fucking clue. But climate technology. Let's see what else. Innovation. Land use. By the way, the land is being taken away in some parts of BC. Mitigation, science, the ocean. There's so much being talked about over there.
What is mitigation? Science?
It's fucking.
You see in the comments here, Jason saying COP 2030 would be a Fort Mac.
Right, if you're gonna have it there, might as well have it at Fort Mac in the backdrop of the fires and the fucking.
Yeah, they're gonna have it at one of the local strip clubs. Has gotten so many of the Fort Mac guys over the years.
And if you think about it, if you're having it far in south, in the southern hemisphere, the majority of the people attending, the delegates attending, are probably coming from northern states, northern countries. Why not try to mitigate how much fucking carbon you're going to emit into the atmosphere? Put it in a centralized location, pick like London or something, and then go from there. At least you could then say we're trying to keep this as local as possible. Maybe fucking cold there. But hey, you know what? Like, they're not there to get a fucking tan.
They don't care. They don't even care about how it looks.
Don't.
They don't care about anything. They don't give a rat's ass about anything.
And that's why I stopped fucking caring. I totally stopped fucking caring. Love it.
What can you say? What can you say? I mean, the private jet elite, okay, the champagne socialists, call them whatever you want. They're running out of steam, I think, in a big way. They just lost a big guy in Bill Gates. You know, he no longer thinks climate change is this doomer issue. Everyone's got to backtrack from all their predictions. It's, you know, I think this is almost run its course. We'll see what comes next. There'll be something these guys put their attention toward, but I don't think it's going to be this for much longer.
Well, as long as there's a way to make a buck. Some people they'll be able to take advantage, right? But
yeah,
Trump came out with this really interesting idea. 30-year mortgages suck. 50-year mortgages, they're good. I like that. So we got lower monthly payments and more interest being paid as a result for the extra duration in the mortgage. You talked about it briefly on Sunday. Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff to mention here that I think is important, and I just want to point to two things, really. One is that on a $500,000 mortgage, assuming you keep a consistent interest rate for the entire term, you only save about $350 on the monthly payment going from 30-year to 50-year. So the savings in and of themselves are not significant, but if you're able to do something with those savings, like put it in the S&P or in Bitcoin or whatever, and grow them, you will probably outpace the value of your house with that savings, which is important. The point that I would posit to you and to the listeners and viewers is that the people who need 50-year mortgages probably are not doing that. Now, as I mentioned on Sunday, I've done this with my mortgage recently. I extended my mortgage back out to 30 years because I think we're in an inflationary, like secular inflationary period where any equity position that's not headed to zero, like, you know, some kind of quantum shitco or something, like, you're going to do a lot better in those markets than you will in your housing. So to put money into your house is, I think, kind of a fool's errand for at least a few years. Lower your payment and extend your AM and put that money into the stock market. That's not financial advice. I can handle that kind of responsibility. Not everybody can. And so I want you to think about that for your own situation. The thing that I think is important, though, as I mentioned earlier, is that there's a demand stimulation issue in the United States. Whether it's car loans, 50-year mortgages, whatever, 15-year car loans, 50-year mortgages, you're not seeing people willing to spend money, and affordability is a problem. We also know affordability is a problem because they want to give $2,000 stimulus checks to everybody and call them tariff dividends. And we also know affordability is a problem because, a year ago, not even, we had Pulte saying again that people's Bitcoin and crypto had to count toward their net worth in terms of housing availability and opportunity. So yeah, I look at all this stuff and I think people have no money. They're looking to assign value to anything they can. It's not helping enough. So what do? We got to be able to make the payments easier. Let's do it. I think this is going to be a disaster. How is it not? Dodd-Frank in 2008, as a result of that financial crisis the United States had, and that almost took down the entire global economy. Some would argue it did take down the entire global economy, save for Operation Twist and QE and all this other fancy financialization. Dodd-Frank, as part of the new rules, eliminated 50-year mortgages because they don't want people taking on all that debt for smaller payments. Because if one thing goes wrong, what happens? Well, 3 properties go out, 5 properties go out, whatever, right? And you can't have that in a market that's relying on debt. And so now they're going to go backwards on it, presumably here in some way. I don't know exactly how it's going to look. It's not law yet, but man, you know what the other thing that surprises me? Not a lot of pushback, because I think there's a lot of people on the left who say, I want to buy a house. I would like to have a 50-year mortgage if it meant I could get a house. I'm into this, right? And so Democrats have been quiet today and yesterday about this particular policy point. I think there's something to that. Because everybody on the left and right, under a certain age, under a certain net worth, is feeling that pinch. They don't realize the minefield they're walking into here. I think this is going to be fun to watch. Personally, it's going to be good content for CBP. I'll tell you that.
It's going to take years before you see anything really play out from this.
For sure.
That's the reality of it.
But it won't take years for people to say home ownership is way up in the under 35s. Home ownership is way up in the deep South, the lowest earning states. The average home buyer, first-time home buyer age is down from 38 to 36 to 34, whatever, right? Like they'll talk about the data
trending in the
way.
right direction. It's
exactly.
A good point.
And the one they won't talk about is how much debt people are taking. It's just like they're running out of ways to kick the can down the road, I think.
That's a beautiful thing for businesses. The ones that are administering the debt, as long as it's sustainable, people aren't defaulting at it. People are happy to take that. Also, on a different way of looking at it, you're borrowing 50 years in today's money. If your payments are going to,
the debt is static. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think the people who are getting 50-year loans are in precarious situations, and so those precarious situations lead to negative outcomes sometimes in a way that people who have solid financial footing don't often experience. And so this is a problem that they're going to have, right, or could have, more likely to have. Let's say.
The longer the duration, the more the risk goes up, because the risk is going to be low 1 year, but you're rolling the dice every time. It's like eventually you're going to get snake eyes, and it could be in year 37 or it could be year 49, whatever. But you're just increasing the chances of something going wrong because of the longer duration. Japan is the only other one that has longer. I think they have 100 years, and it's only for certain circumstances, but there's still 100-year mortgages that they have there. And that's for families to keep property within the family. That's the way I understand it.
Mm-hmm. John pointing out in the chat too that 50-year terms have higher rates than 30-year. So another thing to consider in terms of how much quote unquote savings you're going to have. I don't know. We'll see. I'd be surprised if the 50-year was not more affordable on a monthly basis than the 30-year.
It has to be.
Exactly. So there will be some legislation protecting borrowers against that.
Correct.
I think. Yeah.
For everything being equal, if everything is the exact same and you compare 30 years versus a 50-year, there is no way the 50 years is going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
But if it's if those 50 years they're buying more expensive houses as a result.
Well, if the underwriters are allowed to underwrite to the risk, then they will underwrite it at a higher rate. If they're not, then if they're not, then what happens, Len? The government backstops the loans? Is that the logical next step? It is, right? If the underwriters can't rate on the loan, the long loan, then the government backstops them.
Yeah,
I think
I like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So the $2,000 that
you get the phone number for them?
No, I don't. It's only emails now. It's AI when you contact them. The tariff dividend at $2,000. That's interesting that they're coming out with that.
He said Trump fight between him and Bessent, though, right? Like Trump says it's a check. Bessent says it might be in the form of price reductions. Trump says again, we're sending it to everybody. And unless you're really rich, you're getting it.
Yes, that's exactly it. The high income people, quote unquote, are the ones who are not, whatever that means. So that's an arbitrary number, maybe over 100K in terms of annual income. I don't know. The details aren't there. This is just like one of his he's taking a shit and he decides to post this on Truth Social. And right, like that's basically, but you know what it is? Remember the last time they gave out stimulus checks and the lobster parties in Miami? They ran out of lobster, right? Like it's going to be a time like that. And, you know, those lobsters, by the way, I'm using the hard R here because they're not from New England. And, you know, New Englanders, they love their stuff.
Lobster.
Yeah. So the
do you know, Len, you got EBT, SNAP checks coming back now, and now also a $2,000 stimmy. Talk about good timing. Going to be a party at Walmart in your local low-income neighborhood pretty soon.
You know where else they're having parties is at the Liberal Party in Canada because people are defecting over there.
This is nuts. What's going on there? It's nuts.
We could talk about the post budget party. We could talk about the flights coming back where they're sitting in a lounge. We could talk about them embracing people walking into. Did you see they kept the doors open to the caucus meeting when that guy, I forget his name.
They cheered his name. They were chanting his name or whatever. I think his name is Matt. Wasn't it Matt?
I don't even know what the fuck
I forget now.
But anyways, they were cheering him on. Like, my God. You know, one of the best things about this fucking budget, I think, it just truly just says everything. Think about when you like fill up your car, when you go buy groceries, this shit ain't coming to you any cheaper today. Than it's always a little bit more expensive. There's a little more tax, a little something that's always extra added to it. But the budget, they decided to remove a tax that used to be applied to private jets and yachts. If you bought a vessel or a jet over $250,000, let's be honest, none of us could fucking afford that. You used to be subjected to a tax. Once this budget passes, that tax is gone. And they're doing this with the idea of trying to make the Bombardiers of the world and shit like that actually produce these, give them at least a boost up that they're able to sell a few more. I love this, man. If anybody out there could see my fucking car, which it's leaking a little bit of diesel, by the way, right now. I gotta fix that. It's not leaking a little bit of fucking diesel. The thing is, like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't afford $250,000 yacht. I can't afford it. I could afford a $2,000 jalopy, but like, I'm not getting a fucking break on it.
Do you know what the funniest part is, Len? That they kept the tax on base model SUVs in Canada and took it away on jets and boats.
Like the people that actually need to buy, right? Like, you can't continually buy used cars. Eventually you're gonna have to buy new cars, and if there's still taxes on it, like, it just makes it harder to buy. And well, you're gonna take the bus to work and get fucking stabbed on the way.
There's some absolute bangers in the budget. I'll read a few of them here to you. I mean, this is nuts. I also want to share something from Millennial Moron after that I thought was interesting, but we'll start here. Here's a few line items. Okay, this is from Wealth Moose on Twitter. Sorry if you already heard some of these on Sip and Rip, but I gotta say these on the flagship. 150 million to the CBC, which includes Canada joining the Eurovision Song Contest. Hilarious. 43 million for a quote national listening initiative, which is paying consultants so government can listen better. 17.9 million to modernize government social media messaging. So basically a tax-funded content strategy. Have they considered just telling the truth on social media? That might help. 32 million to regulate how Netflix and TikTok should show us Canadian content. Algorithm engineering on the taxpayer dime. 28 million for, this is a banger, public service worker, anti-isolation culture support, therapy for remote bureaucrats. 63 million to develop a federal K-12 digital citizenship curriculum. You want Ottawa in the classroom talking about how to be a good digital citizen? I doubt it. 8 million for a government-funded climate fiction writing program. So some climate novels there to the tune of 8 million. 219 million for building greening teams, mostly administrators, not actually retrofitting. 48 million for sustainable tourism experience design. That's climate mindfulness trail planning. 11 million for holiday event coordination, the Federal Christmas Party Planning Committee, literally. Whoa. And Millennial Moron points out that if you go to page 300, there's a pretty good breakdown of how they're viewing investment compared to operating. And that the definition of investment is so broad, Len, that guess what? The budget's already in a surplus. Did anyone notice that? No one noticed. So they're already in a surplus. Gold. We're black again, baby. Books are black. We are back. We are so back.
I like the Canada, the build thing that they're building. I forget the acronym or the name of it. And Brookfield is going to be able to take advantage of it from according to Google AI.
Perfect.
That was I don't know either way. Did see that even Canada, they released a job report for the month of October, and it was just by the numbers, it's looking pretty good. 66,000 jobs were created. Unfortunately, they lost 18,000 full-time jobs. 18,000 jobs full-time were lost, but 85,000 part-time jobs were created as a result. This is in the month of October, and it was like in the food and beverages and tourism and stuff like that. It's probably, just in line with what's going on with Major League Baseball and the Toronto Blue Jays, and they managed to get to the World Series, and so a lot more people were going to bars and traveling to Toronto and shit like that, and that helped increase that part-time employment. That's going to disappear once, well, it's now gone because baseball's done for the year. So nobody could look at this and say, yeah, this is fucking great. They lost fucking almost 20,000 full-time jobs, and it's replaced by a bunch of part-timers. Like, this is not sustainable, but whatever. At least, I'll say one thing. The Canada pension plan, I got to give them credit. I'm not sure if you saw this one. They're going to be increasing their investments in the Indian market. And they're going to be tripling their investment from $10 billion that was in, they already have $10 billion from 2020 to now $30 billion as of June of this year. And so
I thought we were taking their best and brightest. Why would we be investing there?
I guess we left a few that are very bright over there that's going to manage our money somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, CBP is divesting from Canada, investing in India. Bring it on. See that video? That guy.
Listen, let's talk about the jobs data quick. The jobs data is interesting because it's mostly seasonal work, right? It's retail and stuff like that, which people obviously like CP24 didn't report on that, obviously. So got that to think about. Rich Diaz today, friend of the show, friend of mine. Something seems off with the latest Canadian labor force survey data. The jump of 66.6K in October is at odds with the survey of employment payrolls and hours, the more reliable, albeit less timely employment statistic. The numbers are juiced. The government numbers are juiced. Payrolls does not reflect any of this. Why are we pretending? What is going on?
I don't think anybody is. And it's not like that whoever's bringing out these numbers and saying it's good, the opposition's weak. They're losing members.
They're so weak that they don't even talk about in the data. What else did I say on Sunday? 30%, like 1 in 3 of the jobs was taken by a senior citizen, and the number of people in that jobs data that added a second job or have multiple jobs is up to 30,000. 30,000 of those new jobs are people with multiple jobs.
That you got to break it down a different way. Think of all the people out there that have too much free time in their hand, and they just want to exchange that for making extra money.
I can't tell you this.
Right? Think about it.
Is that serious?
Come on. Fucking Christ.
Oh man,
I want to talk about this house arrest for these truck driving school guys.
That's great. I was always gonna message you and be like, "Hey, I've seen this story. Okay, don't give me the Brampton man."
No, this is not. This is just a regular story, man. This ain't fucking Brampton or whatever, man. This is a couple of guys in Ontario, Gurvinder Singh and Gurpreet Singh. They were operating
good Ontario boys. Yeah.
They were operating a fraudulent truck driving training school, and they were found to have provided substandard, unapproved training, primarily targeting new immigrants from South Asia, conducting lessons in Punjabi. And the scam was launched after Ontario introduced a mandatory entry-level training program back in 2017, and for people to obtain the Class A commercial license, which required a minimum number of instructional hours and standardized skills before a road test can be scheduled. So the two folks charged students between $4,000 and $5,000, slightly undercutting the price of legitimate schools. And they also circumvented the official certification process. Basically, this allowed students to receive their license without the necessary adequate training. The courts found that the drivers were ill-prepared to drive trucks and posed a clear and serious threat to public safety on Canadian roads. So these two guys were sentenced to house arrest for their role. House arrest, Joey. House arrest.
How did they find this operation? Any idea? Take their ticketing drivers, presumably, or something like that. Like they must have some lead that got them there. So what was it?
They must have found somebody that just fucking can't drive. Where did you go? Okay, let's fucking investigate. And
we're laughing.
Too bad. Like I really wanted to get my Class A.
Well,
I was gonna go there, but
I don't speak Punjabi. Or what did you say they're giving the lessons in?
It's in Punjabi. I have Google Translate. I could use that.
The new AirPods, I think, do live translation too.
Even better. So you don't gotta do shit. Just gotta put something in my ear and it's translated for me.
Oh man, what a mess this country's becoming. Just one embarrassment after another.
Let's go on. We got another case.
Did you hear, by the way? Before the budget, Champagne was walking into the press gallery, or walking through the press gallery. I don't know what that staircase is in Parliament.
Yeah, it's a famous staircase where you come.
Yeah, down. So he's walking up, and people are asking him about the budget shoes. Okay, I didn't know this, but I guess you got to get a new pair of shoes for the budget. Is that the story? Yeah. And one of the reporters says, "Hey, how much of a lift do those things have in them?" The guy's like, he was trying to walk through the press corps. He's like, I don't have time. I got to meet with the prime minister. And Buddy's like, how much of a lift do you have on, or something like that? And he goes, no, there's no lift. I am a short man, but there's no lift in these shoes. I was like, oh fuck, that one tickled him the wrong way. He stopped and answered that question. Tough scene, Canadian Parliament.
So let's talk about the Canadian justice system.
Minister, I am like 5'10" on a good day, so no harm, no foul here. Okay, me and Len are a couple of vertically challenged paisans. We're just pointing out
5'1", maybe
pointing out a funny moment on TV.
The thing is, you undersell. That's the kid, and simply say, "Oh, you're a fucking giant compared to what you're saying." So yeah, I want to talk about this guy Yasir Beg, and he was tried in Canada. He's a Pakistani immigrant and Canadian permanent resident, and he was granted a chance to stay in Canada despite he causing a 5-vehicle crash that caused a death in Ontario back in 2018. So Beg came to Canada in 2018 as a permanent resident. He was driving on a QEW in Mississauga, and he suddenly cut off somebody in the left passenger lane, and basically after that he slowed down his Civic to about 50 kilometers per hour, causing the vehicle behind him to slow down, and then behind them somebody got nailed, and it was a lady, Nicole Turcotte, 22, died in hospital.
Yeah.
So this guy fucked up, cut somebody off, stopped, and somebody got killed as a result. Not only that, he fled the scene. And
fled the scene
too. So not just fucking caused the death, he fucking fled. Later surrendered to police, pled guilty to dangerous driving causing death. And the federal court decided to rule in his favor of not sending him back to Pakistan, because it would cause extreme hardship to his Canadian-born wife and 3 young children, because none of whom speak Urdu or Punjabi, and they would face problems if they were have to be forced to move to Pakistan. And also their twin sons have learning disabilities that require special educational accommodations and medical care from his wife. And they fear that would be not available or inadequate in Pakistan. And and there's another one. Like, it seems to be like they're just, the way the courts are deciding things, it's looking a lot on the status of somebody and if it's impact their ability to stay here or get sent back home. Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. Between this and the truck driving school, like, you can't say that you have any faith in driving in Southern Ontario and say, I'm going to get to my destination. It's a fucking crapshoot.
There was a podcast I listened to the other day, The Line, with Matt Gurney and Jen Gerson, who I'd love to have on this show, though I think, it'd be difficult to get them because we're kind of in a weird silo. Anyway, Matt had a lawyer on who, against all odds, thinks that it is critical that we continue to decrease and alter sentences for non-citizens, even for serious crimes, so that they're allowed to stay.
I like a 2-tiered system. I like that. I mean, justice should be blind. No, fuck that.
I don't know
Sniff
how. Test. Yeah, I don't know how you could think that. heaven forbid something happens to your family, someone in your family from, Sing transport trucks or whatever, what you name it. And the rationale for not punishing him is because his wife might face some hardships moving back. Put him on a fucking boat and send him back. It's not hard. It's like that meme, right? Everything can be fixed by flicking the switch. And every voice is like, no, you better not even talk about flicking the switch. There is no switch. Don't even mention the switch. No one is going to talk about the switch today. The switch is send every person who's not a citizen who commits a crime back home immediately. No trial, no questions, no delay. They're gone. Their family wants to go too. We'll pay for it. You're gone too. That's it. Simple as, man, but we won't do it. We don't have the guts. We don't have the testicular fortitude to stomach that kind of policy position, but it's the only solution. Honestly, like, I don't know what else you're supposed to do at this point with some of these people. The truck driver one is worse because they're training people. And then those people are going out and, like, I'm not saying they're all killing people, but they certainly have the opportunity to do so. And I just don't know how that's allowed to go on. How's that possible?
Yeah, those people should be stripped of their license.
Yeah.
And
I see Crypto Dad. I see your comment. I'm not going to mention it on the air, but you can listen back to other episodes. Like, I'm not sure if you're a frequent listener or whatever, but I'm very critical of that particular group very frequently on the show.
Joey, I think it's a good time to transition to the Hamilton versus Brampton men segment of the show, brought to you by 256 Heat, where you could purchase a unit, heat your home, collect stats at the same time. KYC if you choose to do so. So check them out. Twan, he's a wonderful guy. He sets up these units. Joey, do you have one running in the background right now?
I have one running. I'm gonna see if I share my screen.
I just want to add, I can't even hear it. It's that quiet.
Well, people have messaged me and actually don't believe that I have one running because they can't hear it. So I just want to know if I share my screen, what will show up on. No, I won't. So look, this is my miner. It's running right now at 30 terahash, just under 1,000 watts. It's like, I don't know, 8 feet from my feet. Can't hear anything. Running at that speed. Fantastic.
So 256heat.com is where you can look to buy these units. You could have them in the same room as where you sleep, and they are quiet. So it's not going to impact your sleep. If you want to heat a segment of your home that's cold, it's drafty, whatever, and earn some sats, this is what you want. These units are fantastic.
It's prime time now too, because it's getting colder. Easier to run it hot when it's cold outside. This is the time, man.
And Rob's just saying he got his 256 Heat unit running this week, and he was very happy. He messaged me offline about this.
Sick.
Thank you, Rob. And let's transition to the Hamilton versus Brampton man segment of the show, where I present two stories. One is the Hamilton man, and the other is the Brampton man, or it could be person. And you can decide who is who and who belongs to what. So, Joey, let's do it. And people can play along at home, so you're not forced to just watch us.
We'll be selling the board game Q2 2026. You'll be able to get the Hamilton versus Brampton man board game.
We're just applying for the grant with the Canadian government after the budget was passed. The first one is, there's two interesting ones. It's a woman arrested in a bizarre fake pregnancy and pizza day scam. And a woman was arrested Thursday in a bizarre scam that included a fake pregnant daughter and a fictional pizza day, the police said. And according to the police, the woman showed up at a 57-year-old man's door on Thursday, underdressed for the weather and in a panic. And she told the man that her daughter was in labor and she desperately needed a ride to her house. The man didn't recognize the woman, but assumed that she was a neighbor. So the two got in the man's car and started to drive. And during the drive, the woman told the man it was also pizza day at her son's school and asked him to break a $50 bill so she'd have some change to give to him, the police said. So she handed over the 50. He gave her change. And not long after that, she asked him to do the same with a $100 bill. And he gave her change, but she never gave back the $100. They said. So that she ran off with the man's $100, and he was short $100. And police say that the woman is well known to police, and the person has a prolific history of intentionally targeting members of the community. A 47-year-old woman was charged with theft under $5,000 for failing to comply with her probation. Story number one.
got him twice in the same car ride. Oh my God.
The second time was I took the $100 and ran away. But second, we got this woman charged after a church was defrauded $275,000, according to police. And the police say this woman is facing fraud charges after more than $275,000 in funds were stolen from an Ontario church, which was allegedly redirected to her account. And police say between a 3-year period of time, she was an employee at the church in charge of collecting payments for rental of the church's hall. And the church's hall is rented up to community organizations for events such as meetings, wedding, and concerts, according to police. And it's alleged that the employee redirected the rental funds for the church directly into her personal account, and she siphoned them for more than $275,000. 50-year-old woman was arrested and charged with fraud over $5,000. So those are two stories. We have the fake pregnancy and bizarre pizza day scam, and also we have the ripping off of the church for $275,000. One is a Hamilton, one is a Brampton. Let's see which is which.
I think the second one is the Brampton one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because not a lot of Brampton men and women are using pizza day as part of their scam. That would be a weird one for me, I think. And I just think it's like it's too culturally distant from that group.
So if it was non-day, like if
non-day, yeah, if it was like garlic non-day, maybe, yeah,
or samosa day or something like that.
But like the other thing too is, if it seems to me like the average Brampton man scam is like a quick hit and run. It's not usually like I got 50 and came back with the pizza and then got the 100. It's like I got the 50, I'm out of there. So I think also I think it's easier for a white chick to woo a guy who's clearly like lonely and not getting any pussy, right? Like that's got to be part of the story here. I think, is it not? It has to be. If you give $150 to a stranger for pizza day for a kid, like I think that's
she did get changed for the 50. It was the $100 that she.
Well, whatever. He gave her $150 to the total sum of distributed money was $150. I don't know what he got back, but it wasn't $150.
$50 he got back. Yeah. So
I think
he's shy of 100.
Yeah, I think Hamilton is the pizza and Brampton is the church.
You're correct.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
So, there you go. So it was a little challenging, this one, because
that was a tough one. What is the deal with the church? So what? The lady is running she's like running the social committee, or she's on staff at the parish? Like, what's the deal?
Well, she shared us in the private chat. And
okay.
You could do what you want. So yeah, she was in charge of like doing the rentals and of the church. And
wow, 2-year-old story. Good haul here.
Yeah, I can't get something super recent.
First, this is the first paragraph of the story. Peel Regional Police say a woman is facing fraud charge after more than $275,000 in funds from a Brampton church was redirected into her account. It redirected in air quotes, by the way.
I see. I had to remove the word Brampton. So an Ontario church I had to use. So yeah, this is part of the process of setting up the news stories for Monday show.
Absolute banger.
Hope you enjoyed that. I love to know people also selected the correct one, because it's not just for us. This is a community fucking game.
I love it. Okay, let's get out of here. Twan, I saw Twan message us on Signal, so we're gonna bring Twan on Wednesday. Me and Len will do it. One of us will do it anyway. Maybe both of us. I don't know what's going on. We'll see. And you guys, until then, take care of yourselves. Be careful on the roads out there. You never know what school these guys went to.
What the fuck can I say about that? Pick a reputable school. Fucking one of my